Hey gang, how's it going? Cthulhu2 here as always, and it's been about a week since I got back from my vacation, maybe a little bit longer, and I had talked about kind of filling you guys in on how the vacation went, the stuff that Wifey and I did, and I think I'm going to wrap that along with some more subscriber shoutouts because I'm pretty behind on those as well. So this is going to be the first video along those lines. I'm not sure how many of these I'm going to make, but we're going to get through both the list of new subscribers and the pictures and stories from the vacation all in one go, hopefully. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I think, well, I'm going to enjoy being able to talk about it at least because it was an awesome experience. So hopefully you guys will enjoy seeing some pictures of an area that's a little more remote and exotic, I guess, than what those of us who live in the United States are used to. You might be able to learn some things, see some new things. I'll try to teach you a little bit about like the geography of Belize as well as far as what we actually saw. So stay tuned for this video and for the next couple videos in the series. I think it should be a good time. So before we get started, I just want to say a special shout out to a few new subscribers. If you guys are familiar, I have the little channel trailer video that plays for new people who find the channel. And in there I say, hey, if you leave a comment on a video saying, heyo, I'll give you a special shout out. So that's exactly what I'm about to do right here. This may not be absolutely everybody who's said heyo recently, but this is at least a good chunk of them, and I'll try to catch the rest in a future video. So anyway, without further ado, here's some special shout outs to those guys who saw the channel trailer. Playa JZ, Drakerns Drake, Maria Bea Ubas, Alphonse the Three, Tiger Boy, Lucky Kessie, Washabisu, Endless Mystify, Davy Mazer, Jacob Miller Dietrich, or maybe it should be like Jacob or something like that, Dietrich, I don't know, Lavacle, Mr. Evil Pistachio. Man, I love pistachios, but I've eaten so many of them, but I've never met an evil one before. Strange. Mr. Evil Pistachio. And Steak is Cows. There you have it, folks. The news for the day is steak is cows. So thank you very much to all of you guys who both subscribed and said heyo, probably due to that channel trailer. I hope you guys enjoyed the trailer, and I hope you are liking the channel so far now that you found it. Feel free to leave comments out the wazoo. I love reading those and trying to get back to as many of them as I can. So yeah, I just hope you enjoy your stay here, and I hope you make it a long stay. So anyway, let me start chatting a little bit about the trip. Now, I was initially thinking of doing some face cam for this, but I figured I'm going to be putting a lot of pictures up on screen anyway, so it wouldn't really make sense to. And this way, without doing face cam, I don't have to put a shirt on or anything, so it's kind of a win-win. Anyway, let me start off by saying why we decided to go to Belize. Well, first off, this was our first big vacation as a married couple. We didn't do anything crazy for our honeymoon. We just stayed in state, mostly because we were broke as dirt. We got married when we were still both in college, and we've been saving up until now for the past like 3-4 years to really do a nice trip. And we finally kind of got ourselves established in our jobs and stuff like that, and we haven't had kids yet, so it's easy to get away still. And it all just kind of played out. And Belize is a place that we had found when we were looking for places to go to for a honeymoon, because we like just got engaged and we're freaking out like, oh, we need to go do something super romantic after we get married, and let's look at all the beautiful getaway locations that people go to. pretty newbie, but obviously we were noobs, so we didn't know any better. But Belize had come up when we were Googling around for cool places to go to, so it was it's been in our radar for the past 4, 5, 6 years, something like that. And like as we read more about it, and as we got some guidebooks and really dug into the country itself, it just kind of grew on us, and we fell more and more in love with it. Because for one thing, it's pretty much in the same time zone that Wifey and I live in. One weird thing though is once we got there, we realized they don't observe daylight savings time like we do in the States. So even though they're technically in our same time zone, they were an hour behind us because they hadn't done the daylight savings adjustment. So that was kind of weird. Little fun fact there. But same time zones, we didn't really have to deal with any jet lag at all. It's in Central America, so it's really not that far from us anyway. It was, if we could have flown straight there without any layovers or anything, it probably would have only taken us like 5 hours to fly there, I want to say. Really not all that much. And the big selling points for us were it's a primarily English-speaking country. That's their official language because they used to be a colony of Great Britain, if I'm not mistaken. And then they also accept American US currency. So $1 American automatically converts to 2 Belizean dollars, and they will take your dollar and they will give you Belizean change back. So it's really easy. It makes you feel kind of rich too when you're like, oh man, I have all this money now. I have twice what they would expect because I'm an American. Woohoo! But it was really neat, and it was very nice and easy. I mean, for going out of country, we didn't really feel that we were that far away. It was a really easy transition. So those were some big selling points. As far as attractions, it's a small country, and it has a ton of stuff cram-packed inside of it. I believe, I was told this by someone who lives there, the country itself will fit into the state of Massachusetts, which, as far as the United States goes, is a tiny, tiny state. So that gives you kind of a good feel for how big the country is. If I can work it out, I will put it up on screen for you guys to see maybe either an overlay or a side-by-side or something like that to give you a better picture of it if you're not from the States and you're not familiar with Massachusetts or whatever. So it's really tiny. It doesn't take very long to get from one place to the other, depending on how you're going. And like I said, there's a ton of stuff there. One big thing if you're a scuba diver is there's the blue hole, which, if I remember right, it's in the oceans, close to the reef, and it's this giant sinkhole, basically. So I believe, like, way back in the day, some cave system had collapsed underwater or something like that, and it's this giant hole that people love to go scuba diving into, and you can even see it from space, too. So if you are a scuba diver, it's supposed to be one of the things to do as a diver. We didn't do it, we're not scuba divers, but it does exist there. And then, for me, a huge draw was the Mayan ruins. There are a crap ton of Mayan ruins in the tiny country of Belize. There's also a lot of stuff in neighboring Guatemala and some other countries as well. And they're really easy to get to. And then there's a lot of cool cave systems and stuff like that, which also were important to the Mayans. There's beaches, there's wildlife, there's cool food, there's all kinds of stuff. So all those things combined are what made us decide to go there in the first place. So anyway, we finally got out there, we got our tickets, we got everything situated, and when we were leaving our home, it was still stinking cold. This was in mid-May that we were leaving, and I got a call from my parents a couple days after we left saying that it had frosted back home. So we were leaving a cold climate and we were going to basically a tropical climate. So when we were climbing off the plane, it was quite a shock. I mean, not only are we looking out the plane windows and seeing palm trees and like freaking parrots flying around and stuff like that, but we step out and it is just sweltering compared to what we're used to. So that was a bit of a shock, but it was really surreal. Just leaving a temperate Midwest state and ending up a few hours later in this tropical paradise basically was really, really strange. Like, we had never experienced anything like that before. So we kind of wander around. There's only one international airport in the country of Belize. The, what is it, like Philip S. Goldson International Airport or something along those lines. And it is a tiny little bugger. It's hilariously tiny. Actually, it's not the smallest airport we saw there. There are some regional airports as well. They're basically a house that the planes fly up to let people on and off. But yeah, the international airport was pretty tiny, pretty low-key inside. There's not a whole lot of security, which was really nice. It was pretty easy to get through immigration, customs, all that stuff. So we do that, and our whole trip was kind of half planned out. Like, we planned out where we wanted to stay, but we didn't really plan ahead as to how we wanted to get from place to place. So we get there and we're like, well, do we want to wait for a bus or do we just want to take a taxi? And it was pretty expensive, but we ended up taking a taxi from the airport to our first lodging place. But we really lucked out and got a really cool taxi driver. He picked us up, and he's really chatty. He's talking about him and his family, and he had a son that actually moved out to New York City to work and live there. And he's telling us about his sons that are still in Belize and what they're doing and stuff like that. And just being a really nice, chatty guy and kind of putting us at ease. And he gets to talking about like some of the fruits and stuff they have in Belize and how cashews are in season right now. And he asks us, have you guys ever seen a cashew before? It's like, well, I've eaten a lot of cashew nuts, and I think I've seen a picture of the actual plant itself. And then he pulls the car over and then gets out, and I'm kind of weirded out, like what's he doing at this point? And he walks off from the road to this tree, and he picks a cashew for us and brings it back to the car and gives it to me. He's like, try that. And he explains that, I think I have this right. So I'll have a picture on the screen as well, obviously, but the top part of it is kind of the casing that houses the cashew nut that we're used to. The casing itself is fairly toxic, so you don't want to just nom into the whole thing. And then underneath that is the actual cashew fruit, which I'm guessing a lot of people, myself included, were not really familiar with that part of the plant. And the fruit is edible. People make wine out of it down there, which unfortunately I didn't get to try, but I saw a lot of it. And you can just bite into the fruit itself, but it's really, really weird. It kind of dries your mouth out. There's something in that fruit. Maybe it's very slightly toxic or something, but it made your mouth kind of sandpapery, I guess you could say. It was very, very odd, but it was cool to be able to see one and smell it and taste it a little bit. And I'm kicking myself for not trying out the cashew wine, because I don't know if I'll ever find it again. But there's that. So this cool guy, he brought us down to the first place we stayed, which was a little lodge that was part of the Belize Zoo. I'm going to have to look up the name and maybe put it on screen, because I forgot to research this ahead of time. But some filmmaker and his wife, he was either American or Canadian, they had come down to Belize for some kind of work, and they just fell in love with the country and the wildlife there, and they founded this zoo, which has been around for, I want to say like maybe 30 or so years by now, 20, 30 years, and it's really cool. And so we stayed at the education center, which is basically right across the street from the zoo. And there's a couple little forest cabañas, which are basically cabins or lodges or something like that. And then there's kind of a dormitory style sleeping area up above like the main cafeteria and everything, which would have been a very cheap way to go, which would have been awesome. But yeah, we stayed there for one night, and we got to eat some of the food there that was included, and then we got to have a night tour of the zoo. So there was one guide that took out just wifey and I, just the two of us, and he gave us a full tour of the little zoo, and this guy was awesome. The only pictures we have were on wifey's camera. We didn't know or her phone, I should say. We didn't know if we were allowed to bring our camera and use flash at night, so we didn't bring our actual nice camera, which is really stupid. But we did have her phone with, at least, that takes decent pictures, so I'll try to put some of those up for you guys. But we got to see tapirs, which are the national animal of Belize. They're a really freaking weird animal. I don't even know how to describe it, but you'll see by the pictures. It's got like a floppy nose and then these weird like three-toed hooves kind of thing. It's just a very odd animal, but we got to feed it some banana chunks, and we got to kind of pet its head and everything. We got to see spotted leopards and black leopards, which were amazing. Our guide had some fruit and some nuts to give to certain animals, and he also had some raw chicken legs. And he held this chicken leg right outside the cage of the black panther. And he's all like, "Here, come get it, come get it." So the panther would like put his mouth up to the bars of the cage and like open his mouth really wide trying to get to it so we could get a really good view of it, and it was awesome. So we got to see those. We got to see a lot of other cats like ocelots and stuff like that. I don't remember all the different names of them. I think we got to see some coatimundis there, which we saw in the wild as well later on. some little baby owls and stuff like that. And oh, we got to hold a snake, for crying out loud, a big old boa constrictor, I think it was. And it was really awesome. I mean, this one guy took the time to tour us around at it was after dark, so I think there would have been 7 or 8 p.m. or something like that. He was a really nice dude. So we had a blast there. We got to hear howler monkeys for the first time there, and he was telling us that their howl, the sound they make, was used in the Jurassic Park movies because it is crazy. So he would sit there in the dark, kind of making these howler monkey type calls, and then getting them to respond to him because they kind of like to howl around to claim their turf. So when they heard him goofing off, they're like, "Hey, someone's horning in on our spot," and they would just go nuts. It was so cool. I might try to find a sound clip for you guys or something. That is so cool.
Those are the black-headed monkey.
So that was our first day/night in Belize, and it was a great start. We got to do a lot of cool stuff just in a short amount of time. Okay, so before I move on, I want to kind of break this up with a few more subscriber shoutouts. And again, this isn't going to be everybody, but it's going to be a good chunk, and then we'll do some more chunks later on as well. And just a fair disclaimer here, people who've been around for a while know this already, but I call these shoutouts, but they're more like name butcherings. So if I horribly mispronounce your name, just take it on the chin, let it roll off your back, get a chuckle out of it, and I'll try better next time. So, in no particular order, we have Tasigete12. Now, this person in particular had heard that I butcher names and wanted to see how I would do. And I don't think I did very well. Tasigete12. Yes, we're going with that one. Sean Chang Wind Drunner. Red Yellow Girl. Psy-V, who is organizing an Ultra Derp Corps that hopefully I'll be able to get in on. Basically, it's a UHC for derps, which I've been in a few UHCs at this point, and I feel like I'm consistently getting worse and worse. So I do consider myself a derp right now. So we'll see if I get in or not. I may not even be available for the time they do it. But anyway, that's a little bit about that. And then we have CJ Bean, Ejo907, Amrit Johal, Green Creeper 7, that's the best kind of creeper, Kali Bali, Flames Zoo, Primal Helm, Hank Abhominal, like the Abhominal Snowman, Stevie T, Chippy99100, Toby Roos, Devin Janvier, Hamad KG, Saint Flames 44, Jet Petrie, Michael Ayala, Wyatt 31513, Mohammed El Kadri, A0706AA, Stevie JC Gaming, which is a kind of collaborative channel of two people that are on the Wolf Pride server with me. So feel free to check them out if you want some more Wolf Pride action than you get from my channel, because I've been a slacking butt on that one. The Cyclone 2013, Musha Kiss. That sounds kind of like a gross kiss. Musha Kiss. Like mushy. James Wedge, Andrew Childress, Tunglecroc, Volvox Socks. That's a mouthful, Volvox Socks. Teresa Fernandez, Mario Lowe, K. Doogie, The Lore Master Noja, and TNT Tornado. So that's another chunk of people that have subscribed recently, so thank you so much, you guys, for checking out the channel. I hope you enjoy it here. I hope you leave a lot of feedback, tell me how I'm doing, what kind of stuff you want to see. Just basically get involved, because it just tickles my fancy when people do that. So judging by the time that I've been chit-chatting here, I think this might actually be a good time to end the first part of the sub-shoutout / vacation fill-in videos. I hope you guys enjoyed whatever I ended up putting on the screen to go along with my voice here. I'm going to try to get some some maps of the country and obviously pictures that we took and this, that, and the other thing to make it interesting for you. I think we do have bits of video here and there as well that I might try to pop in. So I hope you enjoyed that, and stay tuned for more of the same until we get to the end of the vacation recap. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time.